Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're right.
No.
Okay, cool. Now we're here on your favorite show, and that is Men. I am the boldest man in Kampala at the moment. Faisal is trying to catch up. He still has a long way to go. He has started at the bottom and he's getting to the top, and he'll join us very soon. Now, tonight we're here to discuss something that touches a lot of men, and it's called generational wealth. Now, some people believe their parents were responsible for building a good platform for them to prosper. Others were blessed, like Chris, to have it. So, gee, so he was born poor.
No. Do you want us
He
to
will
say the
tell
truth
us.
or you?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Apparently.
is it the responsibility of every man to build generational wealth? The Bible is very clear. It says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So, Chris,
I think that the reality of many people is you don't get to vote which family you're born into. Okay. So you're born. You find that you are born in the one you were born into.
Yeah.
I come from a family where a generation before my parents, on both maternal and paternal side, they were quite wealthy. And then something happened to the generation after. The money didn't money
didn't
in
go
the
to-
sense that the wealth was not managed well for that next generation. And so on one side, there's been fights around the wealth and things for 3 decades plus. On another, some of the property wasn't managed well, etc. So then by the time we were born, my parents were your average middle class type of couple, and many of them, so that's the kind of environment that I was born into. So the thing I would say about generational wealth is that we need to be very structured about it, because you can work very hard for in your generation and build so much, and if it's not managed well, you lose all of it in the next generation. King Solomon said that what happens if you work so hard? He was in Ecclesiastes. He was saying meaningless. This is a book he wrote when he was much older, after all the mistakes he made. He says meaningless. Life is meaningless. You make so much money, and then it's passed on to a fool, your son.
Yeah.
In other words, it's possible to pass on wealth to guys who are not as wise as you, because wealth is built by wise people. Okay? At least you need wisdom to build wealth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everyone would be wealthy, but that's not the reality. So I think that there is something to be said about how you bring the next generation along in the wealth conversation, so that they can be able to keep growing it. I think the Indian families, the likes of Mokwano and the others, I think have done a good job. They sort of bring their next generation along well, and from generation to generation, they keep on building wealth, and it gets more and more. So I think there's something to learn. I don't think that as Ugandans, particularly of my skin color, I don't think that we've done a very good job with generational wealth. We're learning, but we need to. So I'm very happy about this conversation.
Okay, no, great. Now, Colin, just springboarding off what Chris has said. Clearly, generational wealth is not for everybody. Should we then just accept that there are certain people who have missed this bus and they'll never get on it?
You know, the thing about context and story is very important, right? So you think about, if Chris is 50, the generation, which is his parents, you say another 50, and then you're saying the generation before that was wealthy. You're saying 100 years ago, in 1920, he was descended from, wealthy families, right?
No, just if you're talking
About.
about me, let me correct the record. You're talking about the 90s, 1990. So that generation closed out. So one of my grandfathers died in 94. My grandma actually passed last year.
Yes.
But the patriarchs
Yes.
signed out around 90s.
Yes.
In the 90s.
But if you think about,
Which is about what 30 years ago.
so they would have been about 70, 80 years.
Yeah, they were in their 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plus 30, you get 100.
So
Okay.
it's about so and the reason why I'm saying that, when you step back 100 years, they're not just people who are wealthy. They were landowners, they were owners of capital, they own factors of production. And when you talk about that, then when you look that far back, then it's plausible to have this conversation. But for a large percentage of society, people don't have land, or they don't have the factors of production that then are able to allow them to because that's how society is structured. There's people at the bottom, people who work for a living, and there's people who own the factors of production who then make other people work for them.
Yeah.
And the human experience is in such a way that very few people manage to break from the either lower class or middle class or working class into the class above them.
Yeah.
One, because you're not just in an economic class. You think like that class. The ideas you have are in that class.
Yeah.
You need to. It's only when you move up, you have to start thinking like the upper class, to then break the habits, the constraints, and the thinking that keeps you here. And when you think about it, I think that the bus is not gone, but it is incredibly difficult, because it also sometimes involves separating yourself from other people. But the one thing you must not do ever is stand here, listen to a pastor tell you about things written by Solomon, who already had all the wealth, and he's telling you, it's all vanity. That's hypocrisy. Let the guy who has had all the money tell you, guys, don't chase the money. It is not meaningful. Let us enjoy. When we enjoy, then we shall also say,
you're missing the point. I'm just saying that Colin, you're missing the point. The point that Solomon was making is that you can work very hard and build a lot of wealth, and then it's squandered by the next generation if they are fools.
Let us make the money, then we see if our children are fools. But we can't just believe. Like, we know that our children are stupid. By the way, let me tell you, like, people, our viewers know. They look at that child, they see him adding 1 + 1 = 3. They're like, laughing. They know. We know. Sometimes you look at your child, you look at your wife, and you just say, this is your son. And you just say, you know what? Anyway, Peter, invite our
Wow. Now, we see we're talking about this whole thing about generational wealth. And speaking of what I've heard a lot of people progress the argument that Colin has made about Solomon, that he enjoyed the wives, the concubines, the money, and everything. Then at the end of the day, he's like, guys, don't do it. And everybody's like, really? You didn't even stop halfway. You went all the way up to the end to say it was not worth it. But that's a discussion for another day. Now, Colin has raised something very interesting, the mindset. Is building, before you build generational wealth, you've got to build wealth. And again, springboarding off what Chris has said, if you're thinking about generation, then you must find a way of teaching your fool of a child to manage that wealth.
Don't point at Faisal.
Jesus. Yeah. So is building wealth a mindset?
Yeah, that's correct. Building wealth is just a mindset, because as the previous speakers have said, when his grandparents from both sides had wealth, but nobody taught them financial literacy. Mm-hmm. Nobody sat them down and told them that you can start to invest, you can know where to save, you can budget. Those are the things they didn't learn. But from now onwards, we shouldn't be talking about losing that wealth because we have books to read. We can learn financial literacy when we are young. Start telling your kids, don't call them fools.
But if he's a fool, he's a fool.
No, but you can teach, anybody can learn. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
true.
You haven't met our friend.
Sorry, anybody can get married.
You must meet him sometime.
No.
I think anybody can learn if we start by teaching them from when we're having dinner. Tell them how was your day, what is about saving, what's about budgeting. Show them as parents. They start showing them how to budget and even how you're making money. Take your kids to your workplace. Teach them what you do. Most of kids don't know what most of us
because
do.
most of us are doing shady things. So you can't take your kids to work. Ask
Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah.
No, he can't.
Yeah, so teach them and even teach our wives how we are making money, where it's coming from. So I think financial literacy is very important. The older generation didn't know, but now we know. We cannot say we are going to lose that wealth because we are really hardworking people in Uganda or Africa, really hardworking and we're rich. But if we don't have the structures to maintain that wealth, teach financial literacy, then we will not generate that wealth.
Okay. Now, Faisal, about us being hardworking people. You know, your generation are into working smart. Okay. Your generation are not aware that the woman you marry will determine whether you'll get foolish kids or not. Because the intelligence genes come from the woman. All right.
Yeah.
Should a young man be intentional about who he marries, about working, and start working on it literally from the beginning?
I think from the moment you wake up in the morning, you should be intentional about everything you're going to do. Yeah. There's a book I read, probably forgotten.
Chris's book?
No, not Mary Well. Although I'm coming to that one too. There's a book I read. So the book was about decisions, and they said we all have the same brain, the same 24 hours in a day. But some people are way more successful than others. But that's because those other people, they don't get to make as many decisions in a day as we do. So if, let's say, in a day you have 35,000 decisions to make, and this is whether your heart is beating or not, whether your lungs are breathing or not, or whether you step out of the house or not, there's a guy who, for him, before he sleeps, he has set his entire day. Like, he knows what he's going to wear, he knows what time he's going to get to work, what he's going to do at work, what time he's going to leave, go to gym, and come back home. So that when I start my next day, it's flawless. I'm not making decisions. I made all those decisions yesterday night. Yeah. So that level of intent is exactly what you need, even when you're picking your next. I was going to say, your next of kin. Yeah, because
Your wife is your next of kin.
She's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Guys, this is why you have no generation.
Now, all right, we do need to jump into a break. We're going to come back straight to you. Now, we're here at Sanga Courts having a conversation about generational wealth. What role do men have to play in building generational wealth? And we'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, you are right in time for Colin. That sounds good. I don't know how he managed to do that. Yes. To enjoy his Tusker Mode Lager as we talk about generational wealth. Now, Faisal, you were breaking this down for us about being intentional.
Yeah. So, even when it comes to picking your next of kin, you really have to be intentional. But I'm not going to lie and make it seem like if you pick the right person, everything is clear cut. Because you have to understand, at the end of the day, wealth comes from God. However much you work, however much you mentor your children,
Are you
however
saying
much...
God makes some people poor?
In my school of thought, wealth comes from the Almighty.
I get it,
Yeah.
but I'm asking, are you then saying that God makes some people poor?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some people you're not meant to make money here. You're not meant to be rich on this earth, and it's okay.
You're here
You
to
don't have to
and
be like everyone else.
You're meant to be as an example.
You're meant to you're meant
of
to be a
poverty for
peasant.
other people.
Yes, that is there. Not everyone is
Will
meant to make it. Not everyone is meant to own a building in Kampala. The sooner you understand that, the better it will be for you, because you will stop admiring every other thing you see
But
out
then
there.
how do you know you're the chosen one?
Why do you want to be the chosen one? Why can't you just live your life based on what you
Values
have?
and
Be grateful
principles.
for what you have. Transfer the values you have, because my G, me, we grew up without money, like completely. Like I am in that sort of life where I'm not even looking at my parents' inheritance. You get me. When I wake up in the morning, I am looking at, okay, Faizo, what are we going to do to make sure the next 5 years are going to be okay? Not at any one point in time do I call my dad and say, oh, buy this piece of land, oh, buy this and this and that. No, it never happens like that. Now, the one thing maybe I can say, because I did read about a couple of families, I've seen some families also accrue generational wealth. I'll talk about my former boss, Mr. Patrick Bitature. Yeah. Now, when you look at a family like that, because his dad had money, but eventually politics happened and all the money disappeared.
Was squandered.
Yeah, all the money disappeared. And this guy had to go back to the basics. So that's where I love Chris's point of the values you instill in your children is actually what I call the wealth. Because you may have all the money in the world, but if you are transferring this money to a guy who thinks having a new iPhone every year is the standard of what he should live by, then you're at fault. It's not going to go very far.
Okay, I hear you. Hold on.
So now, let me,
go
sorry,
finish.
as I finish here. So there is that whole point of transferring values, down to your children. And then there are people who have mastered having an organization, I'd say an ownership structure. Yeah. Now, when you look at things like SACCOs, a lot of people look at SACCOs and they make fun, like they don't really take it seriously. Yet, when you're looking at families abroad, the Rothschild, the Walmarts, these guys built, I'll say, family banks. They built family banks. They put life insurance premiums on these banks, where now everyone in our family has to pay to this family bank, so that the bank has liquidity. But also, if you die, we'll take care of you and your kids. We'll take care of you and your family, or we'll take care of you and your property. So the family bank now becomes the generational wealth. In that, Colin, it doesn't matter if you die, we got you. Your kids are going to be part of us. We'll set up life premiums for them, and they're not going to suffer. That's also another way of accruing generational wealth, as opposed to the value system is difficult and all this. So I've seen families. I've actually had families, because we've attended events where circles come together, and I've seen people who are raising serious money through a family circle.
Go ahead.
So when a person has been wealthy and they go back to zero, they are not really the same as me and Faisal. Because they know they have already
get
made
there.
a million
Yes.
shillings, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they have the blueprint.
They are coming with knowledge which me and Faisal don't have. And I think that when you think about it like that, then the generational wealth isn't assets. It is behaviors. It is
Values.
information. Yes, it is values, right? Because the assets are just the evidence of how we live.
Yeah.
Right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because the real differentiator, the real multiplier becomes the information. A guy, as you said, you can have money, you're down tomorrow, you can make it back. But if you've never been up,
Then you have
you're
no
here
idea.
like me and Faisal talking about
Just to strengthen your point, just to add on, if you can allow me, you read President Donald Trump's story. His dad was, fairly wealthy, Fred Trump, and then he passes on, what Donald Trump calls a little money. A few $1 million, small was little money for him, because he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
But he went broke twice, and there's a time he tells a story. He met a guy on the street in New York who was asking for a handout, and he's like, "Look, I have no money," because it's like, dude, if you knew how much I owe, because I think at that point he owed $2 billion. He was negative 2B. Okay, but someone who's able to come from negative 2B to maybe back to 3-4B. I mean, now there's no telling what his net worth is as a president. But here's what is good to know is that by the time he became president the first time, he had stake in 500 companies all over the world. So that the reason why he held it back is some of the businesses have stakes in China, in Russia, and all that. But he had business interests in 500 companies. And so the point is that the mind that can make that money is more important than the assets, although I think I like the mind and the assets.
So wait, I wanted to make the second point to then come back into this.
I wouldn't want the stuff squandered.
So the thing about the mind, which is what the mind has to be able to think a certain way, do certain things, and then the other part about this generational wealth story you talk about is about vision casting.
Blueprint.
Someone has to be able to see, I see 500 years, I see 50 years, right? And part of that vision casting is knowing that amongst your kids, know that Chris is not going to make it, but Chris's son Faisal is the one who's going to make it.
With your theories, guys, then the wisest, the cleverest people would be the richest people in this country.
No, I'm not saying clever. I'm saying because there are people who have money and they can't see beyond their own lifetime. And if you think about the thing that you're saying, someone who says, I'm not going to just buy cars, I'm going to establish a way for us to take care of our children and our families. Remember that having the money to take care of your kids, your brothers and your communities, families, is what allows them to go to school, pursue their passions, become excellent in the world. That thing about vision casting is absolutely important. The final thing I wanted to say and hand over to earlier when she started, she said, we must teach our wives to save. And I wanted to just state here that people don't get out of poverty by saving.
Oh, really?
They don't achieve generational wealth by saving.
That's my son's school of
thought. They don't.
So how do they?
I feel like even if you saved your whole life.
No. So I am going to hand over to Peter so that he can come to
Please qualify your thing.
Wait. We are coming to that, and I'll tell you what. I kind of agree. I usually don't agree with Colin.
Peter,
I will tell you one thing, and it's even biblical: the talents. The guy who held the talents saved, and so.
No, Peter. The Bible said that you should at least have taken my money to the bankers and that I would at least have gotten some interest.
He's saving, he's holding on to it.
He did not save.
No.
He
by holding on to it was saving the money.
Okay, Nancy, you see what you have started. Then you've kept quiet. But Nancy, before we go back to what Colin said, he started off very well. Then he threw in the works.
Yeah.
Now about the blueprint, Colin was actually talking about a blueprint, being a visionary, and I believe that is the first step. You must know where this is going, and I'll give you a very practical example. When the East African Railway line it was the Uganda Railway line, which became the East African Railway line, was completed in, I think, 1901. The Indians, because the Africans became a problem, didn't want to work, so the British government brought Indians, coolies, the coolies, to come and build it, and they were going to be paid. Now, when the railway line was done, the British government was actually broke and started giving all sorts of excuses as to why they couldn't pay and how they wanted to pay. And the Indians said, it's fine. We only want one thing. Don't pay us. Just leave us here. And they made a pact amongst themselves that they were going to be the last poor Indians of their generation. So they accepted that they were going to be poor. But they said those guys coming ahead will never be poor. And it speaks into what you were saying about about certain wealthy people. I'll give you a simple example, like the Madvani family.
Yeah.
They were extracted, everything was taken away. They come back, but they're still following a blueprint. And they pick up from there. So don't you think the first step should be cast your vision? Say, I'm going to be, as Faisal, as young as he is, says, I'm going to be the last poor guy. Let me enjoy my
But guys,
poverty.
you know what? I think we should stop lying to the public.
I'm not
People
poor.
think that Faisal
No.
is young.
Yes.
Faisal is not
No,
poor.
I'm not poor.
Faisal runs
Let's
like
first start
16
with that.
businesses. He has like
I
2
don't know why you
podcasts.
keep
He
using
has
me as
side
a
hustles.
basis of
Yeah.
poor. I am not
Like,
poor.
there's nothing poor
Yeah,
about
look
this
poor to
guy.
you.
So not poor, not young, which is which?
No, he's young, but he's not poor.
Okay. Me see, man. You went to you.
He might have more money than this motivational speaker.
I just want to clear that out. I'm not a motivational
Oh,
speaker.
sorry.
Yeah. So I do a financial literacy
coaching.
and I disseminate information and I talk out of experience. So I'm not motivation. I've lived this experience from being poor to where I am now. So I'm
So
not
you're rich.
motivation.
You're wealthy.
I am wealthy.
Wealthy, not rich.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
There are
So-
levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about the blueprint.
Yeah.
Should, not using Faisal as an example,
Yeah.
but somebody like him, okay, should you be able to say, look, I'm going to be the last poor Busoga man, okay? Now, going forward, all the Basogo who are coming after me will be wealthy. Is that part of generating wealth?
Yeah, because you generate wealth that is going to outlive you. So you're not generating wealth for me, for immediate and for my immediate kids. It is something that is going to outlive you. So that's what generational wealth is all about.
Yeah.
So if I'm creating, as he said, you have insurances that you've put in a trust, and all your clan members are in that insurance, and it's compounding for the next generation and the generation to come. So,
But sorry to stop you there, but aren't you speaking to the elites? I'm saying, well, how about I'm this guy, all right?
yeah.
I am, no disrespect.
Like
to-
you're a pineapple farmer.
Okay, you're like me, a pineapple farmer, okay?
Are you ashamed?
No, I'm
of-
not ashamed to be. But
So why do you never talk about it?
No, I'm a very proud pineapple farmer.
Okay, so
but-
then
all right.
you are going
but
to
I
use
am, I understand what she's saying, okay, but maybe you'll speak to my fellow pineapple farmers, okay? But yes, let's talk about, I'm a pineapple farmer in Kayunga, all right? Now, here I am, I'm looking at this situation. I've got 13 kids, it is what it is, and I want to see how I can be able to build generational wealth. Where do I begin?
Well,
Because you can't start telling me to buy unit trusts and all that stuff. That won't make sense to me.
Yes, but we are very fortunate as East Africans. We have been able to create circles, chibinas, those the money that we collect. It's where we start from. But the only difference is that we have been collecting money, but we haven't figured out how to compounding it so it benefits the community. So when I'm talking about literacy and how to find economic developers to go into those circles, because I have seen circles with trillions of shillings, but what they are telling me is they are buying land. Land is not, it's good, it's an asset, but we need cash flow. We need other things to compounding it. So whatever we make, it benefits the community. So that's how fortunate Uganda is. So we have those structures in place. So it talks from the bottom of the bottom, the person from the village, how they are generating that income and how it can transfer to wealth.
And
Do you see what I was saying? Do you see what I was saying? That the wealth comes from God. You build, you help your community. God is definitely going to give you more money because you're helping about 50, 30 people. If you look at how the Madvani were, where they settled in that
Before you
area,
help
how
anybody,
that
help yourself.
entire area
Now,
has,
we need
has
to get
grown.
into a break because we're here talking
You people are
about
selfish. That's why you're not
generational
wealthy.
wealth. According to Faisal, if
Like
you want to
pineapple
become rich,
farmers are-
Yes.
become a
ever gotten
pineapple
a free
farmer
pineapple
and
from
give
me?
out your
Never.
pineapples to everybody. Otherwise, don't
Grow
go
your
anywhere.
community.
We'll be right back after the break.
N.
Welcome back from the break. We're here at Sangha Courts having a conversation over an ice-cold Tusker Malts. We want to hear from you. This is your show. Let's have a chat on our socials. Our handle is...
NTV_UG.
Why are you saying it with no energy?
He's thinking. He was in another box and you...
You know, when
pulled him
you
out
were
of that
asking
box.
me, yeah, when you were asking, I was thinking about
it
my
is
work.
NTV Men _UG. Yeah. Anyway, now, guys, before we went into the break, Colin talked about the issue of saving. Now, I know it's a very dicey thing. You can't invest what you do not have, all right? However, if you are going to be scared and you're just going to say, all I'm doing is saving, you will not grow rich by saving.
So you're right. But I think that when you look at society and how we structure our lives, when you're at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we've spoken about this before, like you're trying to get into relationships with people who are dating for bundles and clothes and shelter.
Yeah.
Like that's not who you're going to build a life with, right? And I think there's a certain level below which you really should just focus on your survival. You can save a little, but a lot of saving that happens at that level is to just absorb life's shocks. Peter's been discovered he needs a kidney transplant.
Boom, money gone.
It wipes away your entire savings. Some people, and people say it online, and we think it's a joke when they say that in Uganda you are one hospital
bill
visit away from
poverty.
abject poverty,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And I think that we have to be alive to the reality of how our people live, right?
Yeah.
Great. So the thing about, and why I agree with our guests today, is that collective savings can compound. Yeah. So my 10,000 maybe doesn't compound as much as if my 10,000 combines with all of our 10 million. And so the interest is more, and we can then borrow, we have access to credit, and sort of there's that growth. But individually, most people are, I guess the point I'm making is, individually, most people are trapped at that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and they can't see past their daily bread for you to then make them say, sacrifice this thing for 10 years. Don't eat bread for 10 years so that your child can go to secondary school. They can't see that because of the crashing nature of daily life.
All right. Whereas I agree with you, I want to, and I'll start with you, Chris, just to throw in how do I put it? Just to throw in now the missing piece to the picture, for lack of a better term. Your spouse. Does the person you want to build generational wealth with matter, or is it something as a man you can do on your own? Because we have seen women, some women, not all women, take it that once they start putting money in, they are investing, okay, in you. They're not seeing the bigger picture. So can we say as a man, you're meant to be able to sell your vision to your woman so she doesn't feel like, oh, I invested in him and I got nothing out of it?
So I think that when it comes to money, it's very touchy, very, very, very touchy. And different people deal with money differently.
But in my latest book,
what's that?
in my latest book,
Marry well, page 46, section 8.
Yeah, no. There's a great book that's out. Marry Well, they're talking about it. It's a really good book. How to build a marriage that can carry real life. But the thing I want to say is that in marriage, people handle money differently. You could even be kids from the same home, same dad, same mom, but the way the marriages, you both get married, or you all get married, and the way the marriages deal with money is different because people are different within a marriage setting. You can have a scenario where the couple knows where all the money is, what comes in, what goes out, what the investments are, and they're holding them separately. So you can find people who own different things, but they're owning it together, and somehow for them it makes sense. There's others who it's both names on everything. Then there's some who one is hiding this and the other is hiding that, and they're only disclosing what they're willing to lose. And And all those scenarios are listening to us today, right now. Okay? So the thing about marriage has got to be, I think it's got to start with the agreement you have as a couple, the covenant you have. Like, how have you agreed to deal with money? Because if you have what I think is an unfortunate scenario of his money, her money, the fights that they would have if you advise them to put it together. I know some people who down to, this is how we separate the expenditures. I do school fees, rent, or building the house or whatever. You do onions, tomatoes, water bills, and things like that. And it seems to work for them. Okay? I don't know how you do that math, but some people do that kind of math. What I'm saying is that it varies.
All right, guys, now we have to start wrapping up the show. Yes, time flies like that. Just like that, you blink and it's gone. He warned you, didn't he? Yeah.
I did
so,
warn her.
we'll start with your parting shot.
Yeah.
What would you want the guys out there to know?
I think my short is like adding on to Chris's story, is building generational wealth should start from us, this generation. So we start teaching our children about financial literacy. When you're 20, you can put 20,000 shillings aside on your investment. And by the time you're 40, you'll be a billionaire. I can share that with anybody that is interested. And you can use that same formula for our viewers.
20
so it's
years.
possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
20,000 shillings at 20,
Every
be
day.
a billionaire by 40 every month.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day.
Makes sense.
Which we do. We spend, a regular person spends 100,000 every day. So that means
Which regular person?
a regular Ugandan, because if you go to the bar, you spend the same amount of money.
No,
Peter,
as in for him, he spends like 400.
No,
500.
no.
So when you say 100,
I'm a
he's
pineapple
not
farmer,
understanding
don't
how,
forget.
because that is very little for him.
In Kayunga, I highly doubt.
100K is just his
No, but
fuel.
when we're talking about building generational wealth, we know that, as Vizer said, there are people who are poor. But we're looking at people who are middle class, who are working 9 to 5. You have a job, you have a side hustle. That is money you can collect every day. 20,000, you can collect it. Like my niece, she was doing my makeup, so she's paid, and she's still in university. So that is something we need to start getting out as Ugandans. We start building. We have a skill. You have a skill, build on it, and make money out of it, so that we shouldn't be a statistics that in Uganda, we cannot build wealth, but we are rich, so we can build that wealth. So that's what, as a Ugandan, say, we need to change our mindset and start working on our being rich into building generational wealth that will outlast us.
All right, fantastic. Faisal, your parting shot.
Yeah, the first thing is, see, before wealth, you have to be rich. That's why sometimes people say he's rich, he's wealthy. They're two different people. But before you become rich, you also have to have money. That's why sometimes people will say he has money, but this one is rich. But this one just has some money. Yeah. Now, also before you get money, you have to save. You have to compound. Yeah, that's why they'll say, man, this guy has money. This one is just saving, is just beginning. But even before you save money, you have to what? You have to acquire a skill. So that means you have to compound on your knowledge. Yeah, this is just the first lesson I'm going to give everyone there. I did telecom engineering. I thought this was it for me. Like my life was engineering. But when I entered marketing, when I started reading about billboards, I loved it. So what happened is I invested my money in studying marketing. Not my mom, not my dad. I just sat down and said, I think this stuff is fun. If I put money in this, it might do something. Yeah. And because of that knowledge, because of that skill, because of the saving of the money I did, I'm now at least somewhere. That's like lesson number one. Lesson number two is, I don't think that people who are wealthy, before they became wealthy, used to sit down and say, I'm going to work so that I become wealthy. I feel like wealth is a state of life you achieve. It's not something you sit down and plan like you're in S1, you're like, yes, we're going to be wealthy. S2, camp, no. I feel like it's the final state of life that at that moment in time, you're considered wealthy because you've accrued all these other things. What I'm going to advise people to do is control the things that are within your reach. If you have a skill, if you're doing something, how about you impact your community as much as possible? Because like I said, I come from a school of thought where if something is meant to be yours, it will be yours. That whole business of you're seated and you want a building, you want this Lexus, you want that Range Rover, but these things are not meant for you. It will stress you. It will make you miserable for the rest of your life. But if I come to the table with this school of thought of, you know what, I'm not wealthy, I don't have money, but with this skill I have in marketing, I can teach some people, I can mentor some people. And this is what I do. So usually on Sundays, I meet people and I just teach them about marketing. I teach them about billboards. Not that I don't even ask money off them. I just have this prayer of God. You are seeing what I'm doing, impacting all these people. Surely if you gave me this 5 billion shillings that you have given the other blogger, what's his name?
Don't say it. Don't
Surely if you give me this 5
Yeah.
billion shillings you've given this blogger, I'm going to be able to get at least 1 billion and mentor half that population in Kampala in marketing also. Yeah. And then my final lesson, my final point will be ownership is one thing, structured ownership is another. Yeah. And wealth is not built by one person. One of the reasons why in Africa it has been so, I mean, you only have Dangote, right? Why it has been so hard for us to accrue wealth is, it is so, we grew up, I think we suffered a lot. Yeah. So we were traumatized a lot when we were growing up, in that we are very easily triggered. If you're with someone, you're building wealth, divorce has now become a very big constant. If you look at all these families that have built wealth,
Yes.
things like divorce
It gets
don't
separated
exist.
by-
Things like separating don't exist. So structured ownership is a very important thing if you actually want to be serious. But this is at that level when you're now rich. So if you're still down here, work on your skills.
Okay. Colin, your parting shot.
No, I mean, when you hear Faisal talking about structured ownership, I think he makes a very good point, right? Because when you're really building wealth, if you're building structured wealth, and it's not just a one-man show which lives under Peter's pillowcase, you make a lot more people richer, right?
Yeah.
Lawyers and contracts and legal fees and accountants and advisors. The ecosystem lifts everyone. But if you run everything like a one-man show business,
Like a pineapple farm.
like a pineapple farm, you're the one who decides the fertilizer, you're the one who sells the pineapple price, you're the one who says we're not making pineapple juice, no value addition. I think Faisal makes some very interesting points, right? So part of building in community is also that you can help a lot more people. Another thing that we said today that was very interesting was this: who you marry determines, where your wealth is. From time to time, just look at your roommate. Look at the person who's next to you in bed and know that generational. First, you said what? That you are going to be rich, you will not be wealthy. You can be with someone who's from a wealthy family, but you've been with them for 6-10 years. You've never seen them pick up a book. They have never read the book, but every day they're telling you what so-and-so did on TikTok and what is on Senga acid and what is... Like, bro, just know
You're in
it's
trouble.
on you. You have no help. No one is coming to save you.
Chris.
Not just financial literacy, but the practice of the same. Earning, saving, investing, and giving. Because actually, I think those 4 things work together. When we talk about these things, I like to recommend a book by Moses Mukisa called Straightforward Financial Growth. Get it. It's good. I think it's one of the best sellers in that area in Uganda. The second thing I would say is community. The truth is that your network is your net worth. the people you know actually get you to the money you need or the wealth you need. So here's the thing. You will never be wealthy if you have no wealthy friends, because they are the ones who know how they got there. Mindset, birds of a feather. The other thing is experiences. Sometimes, I saw a video recently. Pastor Robert Kayanja had been invited for a meeting at Donald Trump's private home in Mar-a-Lago, in Florida. And he's like, yo, I've traveled the world, but this I have never seen, because it's like a palatial home. So sometimes you need to go to places where a real wealthy person can challenge you, because sometimes if you are the wealthiest in your corner, I think it's
in Kayunga.
John Maxwell says if you are the top of your class, you're in the wrong class. So in other words, make friends with those who are higher. The last thing, Peter, which has been really close to my heart, because for me this area, generational wealth and securing the future for the next generation, is a big deal for me. One of the things we haven't had a chance to talk about, and I hope we can talk about it, is AI, AGI, AGSI, super intelligence, and what that's doing to our world. Some things are happening now. There's real compression of jobs and things like that of the economy. And there's agendas right now. If you look up WorldCoin and things like that, there's going to be programmable money. So it's in some cases, and by the way, China has already started some of this experiment, surveillance of the whole population. They track everything. You're an ID, you know. So what I'm saying is that the world we are living in now, many of us are not aware of, okay? And what that could look like. So some of the things I think we need to do is also just be wise in terms of what we're investing, which can't be digitalized. Things like land and property, things like food chains, because human beings have to continuously eat, managing logistics, water, energy, things like that. So that, and I believe a lot in what I think you call it structured something.
Ownership.
Structured ownership.
So
we need to always work in communities, the circles, the community thing, but then be aware of things that are not compressible, things that are not deletable. Because what's happening is that you think, if you ever thought that the big corporates have been big, they are getting much bigger because of technology. Yeah. The world where we are going is, if we don't switch on now and start preparing for what this conversation can be totally meaningless if you are working with an economy of yesteryear and not the one that's coming in the next 5 years.
Makes perfect sense. Now, we're here at Sangha Calls. We've been having a conversation about generational wealth. Are you that kind of man out there who's building something for the future? Or are you the lone pineapple farmer, as some people have put it, who has decided they're going to die with their pineapples? This is your show. We want to hear from you. We have to go. From us tonight is God bless. We'll see you next week.